Welcome at Two Wings. In our last video I talked about what mindfulness is, and this time I would like to talk about what mindfulness is not. There are many ideas about what mindfulness is, and some of them are not entirely correct. So for example, many people suppose that being mindful means that you don't have any thoughts anymore. When you sit down in a meditation, that the mind becomes completely blank. And this is really not the goal of mindfulness, because there is no goal. Mindfulness just means intentionally becoming aware of whatever is present in this moment in a non-judgmental way. So this also means becoming aware of the thoughts that are around. And there are always thoughts around, right? Our mind is always active. It's always trying to figure something out. It's going to the past, it's going to the future. And trying to have a blank mind is basically impossible. But what is possible is to know that we are thinking. Because this is what often gets us trapped, when we're not really aware that we're thinking. When we're not really aware that we are somehow caught in a train of thoughts, in a story, and that this story is not necessarily the reality. So stepping out of these stories is one thing that mindfulness can do for us. Another idea about mindfulness is that you're only supposed to have happy thoughts. Everything is supposed to be positive. But mindfulness is not about pushing the challenging thoughts and emotions away. On the contrary, in mindfulness the invitation is to include everything. So no matter what arises in our daily lives, the pleasant events, pleasant thoughts, pleasant emotions, and the unpleasant ones, everything is an object that we can be aware of. So we can be aware of a beautiful flower, but we can also be aware of the noise of a plane that is just landing. Or we can be aware of a dog barking that we might find pleasant or unpleasant. But that is just a judgment. So mindfulness really includes all the objects, all the thoughts, all the emotions. And it's not about becoming more positive. Although what we can do in mindfulness is to maybe be more present with what is pleasant, what is nice, and thereby counterbalance something that we call the negativity bias. So a natural function of the brain to actually be like Teflon for the good and Velcro for the bad. So maybe you know that when something bad happens, maybe just one tiny event in your whole day, it can give the whole day actually a slight feeling of uneasiness. And maybe more than a slight feeling of uneasiness. It can make your whole day look grey and dark and really change your mood, although you had many, many pleasant experiences during the same day. So counterbalancing the negativity bias by really being more present with the pleasant moment, enjoying them more, can be one result of practicing mindfulness. And then many people also believe that you can only practice mindfulness meditation when you're sitting cross-legged somewhere on a cushion, like the perfect yogi, when you can practice in an environment that is totally silent, where you can concentrate. But really the beautiful thing about mindfulness is that it can be practiced whenever you want, wherever you want, and in any posture, in any environment, in any situation. And in mindfulness courses, what we teach, what many mindfulness teachers practice with their students, is a formal practice of mindfulness, but also a so-called informal practice. So a formal practice can be a sitting meditation, it can be a lying down meditation, or a meditation in movement. And the informal practices are really the ones that allow us to integrate mindfulness into our daily lives. So it can be about eating mindfully, about cooking mindfully, emptying the trash in a mindful way. So being mindful whatever we're doing in this moment, having mindful conversations with other persons, and so on. And the last thing I would like to talk about is the idea that practicing mindfulness meditation is something self-centered. So people might think that when you take half an hour or an hour out of your day to just sit and be with yourself, that this is something selfish, that you're just taking care of yourself and of nobody else. And somehow I understand where this comes from. But really, how are we supposed to understand a human mind if we don't look at our own mind? It's the only one we can observe, right? So if we want to understand the people around us, if we want to know why they react in a certain way, why maybe things that we do hurt them, why they might get triggered, why they are sometimes fearful, very emotional, angry, what their needs are. If we want to know all that, the only thing we can do really is to look inside ourselves, because we are all human beings. And in mindfulness we can come to understand this common humanity, this insight that we are basically all the same. We all have the same fears, the same needs, the same desires. And once we get to know ourselves better, then automatically we will understand much, much better what is happening inside other people. And this can really be an enormous transformation for our relationships. So I hope you found this video interesting and insightful, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.